Samantha stood gazing out the window of her small, cluttered kitchen, watching the early morning sun filter through the trees. It was a new day, but the weight of yesterday's worries still pressed heavily on her shoulders. As she sipped her lukewarm coffee, she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the responsibilities that came with being a single mom. Her little house echoed with the quietness left in the wake of her two kids, Mia and Jake, who were off at school. Every day was a juggling act. Samantha had mastered the art of balancing her job at the local diner with parenting, but it was exhausting. The moment she returned from work, she shifted gears, putting on her mom hat and transforming from waitress to homework helper, chef to bedtime storyteller. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. Each role was filled with love, but sometimes exhaustion washed over her like a tidal wave. Money was always tight. Bills seemed to multiply overnight, and with each paycheck, she was left feeling just a bit more stressed. When emergencies popped up, a broken appliance or a doctor's visit, it felt like someone had pulled the rug out from under her feet. Samantha often found herself daydreaming about what life could be if she could just catch a break. She wished for enough comfort to put away some savings or to take her kids somewhere fun for a change. Despite the struggles, Samantha found joy in simple moments. Mia's artistic abilities with crayons scattered across the kitchen table, or Jake's infectious laughter when he played with his toys. It reminded her why she worked so hard. They were her world. Each smile from them was worth all her efforts and sleepless nights. One Friday afternoon, however, while cleaning after a crowded lunch shift at the diner, she overheard a couple of regulars chatting about an unusual event happening that weekend. A storage unit auction. People find hidden treasures in those places, one of them exclaimed with a laugh. Intrigued, Samantha listened closely. Could this be something that could change their lives? The thought sparked excitement. She wiped down tables and refilled coffee cups. After work, she decided to do a little research about these auctions online. Stories filled with amazing finds caught her attention. Old coins, vintage toys, even entire furniture sets. Could there be something in those forgotten units waiting to be discovered? It sounded like a long shot, but worth a try if it meant a chance to provide more for Mia and Jake. Later that evening, as she tucked her kids into bed, Samantha shared her newfound idea with them. Mia's eyes sparkled with curiosity, while Jake bounced on his bed, exclaiming, "Maybe we'll find a treasure map." That enthusiasm nudged something inside Samantha, a flicker of hope and adventure. Why shouldn't they look for hidden treasures together? On Saturday morning, they woke early, buzzing with energy at the prospect of their weekend adventure. With some coins saved from her tips, they made their way to the storage facility filled with units stacked high like towering blocks. The air was thick with anticipation as they joined other bidders milling around, eager to catch a glimpse of what might lie behind those closed doors. The auctioneer was an animated man with a booming voice. One by one, he started calling out units for bidding. As Samantha watched on anxiously, she could see seasoned bidders raising their hands confidently, while others put up strong fights over prized lots. Her heart raced as she realized how out of place she felt among these strangers. What if she made a mistake? What if no one wanted to bid on her unit? But Mia's playful cheer and Jake's limitless imagination renewed her courage. Maybe they could turn this stressful experience into something special. A family adventure filled with laughter and memories. Finally, after much anticipation and fierce bids from others, it was time for the unit that had caught Samantha's eye earlier during their stroll around. The one in a quiet corner of the lot, slightly overgrown, but somehow alluring. The auctioneer announced it with flair. Yet Samantha felt unsure as others lifted their hands quickly like seasoned pros. $40, she called out tentatively. To her surprise, her voice rang louder than expected amidst the chaos. As tension grew in the crowd, the sound of the gavel hovering above her confidence. Samantha felt every ounce of doubt within slip away with each passing second. Others hesitated, their hands dropped down as reluctance crept into their bidding strategy. Going once, going twice, sold. With that final bang of the gavel, relief washed over Samantha like rain after a hot day. She won. A mix of excitement and disbelief coursed through her as she held tightly onto the tickets representing not only ownership of a storage unit, but also newfound possibilities for her family. Walking toward her newly acquired treasure chest later that day, with Mia and Jake giggling alongside her, the weight she carried began to lift. Little did she know that within that first box, hidden inside, would lie more than old belongings. It would shape their lives in ways they never imagined possible. As the week rolled on, Samantha found herself thinking more and more about the storage unit auction. The idea had sparked a flicker of hope in her heart, something she desperately needed amid the daily grind. While cleaning up after another busy shift at the diner, she replayed the conversation she'd overheard, imagining all the possibilities that could come from one simple investment. That Friday evening, after tucking Mia and Jake into bed, Samantha settled down at the kitchen table with her laptop. The glow of the screen illuminated her determined expression as she typed "storage unit auction" into the search bar. A flurry of websites popped up, filled with stories about hidden treasures found in forgotten units. Her curiosity deepened as she read tales of people discovering everything from rare collectibles to family heirlooms, each story wrapped in excitement and wonder. Could I really find something like that? She whispered to herself, imagining how a lucky find could change their lives. Her heart raced at the thought of unearthing something valuable that might ease their financial struggles. A vintage toy that could fetch a good price online, or even an old piece of furniture they could use at home. Around 10 o'clock, after hours of research, Samantha felt a wave of determination wash over her. She discovered that the auction was set for Saturday morning at a storage facility not too far from her home. With newfound enthusiasm bubbling inside her, she decided to take this chance. It was time to make a move that could potentially change everything. The next morning, Samantha woke up early, fueled by excitement and a hint of nervousness. After making pancakes shaped like stars, just like Jake loved, she shared her plans with Mia and Jake while they ate breakfast. Their eyes widened with interest as she explained the concept of the auction and how people bid on abandoned storage units filled with forgotten items. "Maybe we'll find something super cool," Mia said, her voice dancing with excitement. "Or a treasure map," Jake added with a grin, his imagination running wild. Samantha couldn't help but smile at their enthusiasm. It was contagious. Together, they gathered some coins and dollar bills they had saved from various chores and allowances to put toward their bidding starting fund. Every little bit counted in their plan to possibly score big at the auction. As they dressed for the day, Samantha felt a mix of hope and anxiety gnawing at her stomach. What if they didn't find anything? What if they spent money they couldn't afford to lose? But as she looked into her children's eager faces, she reminded herself that this was about more than just potential riches. It was an adventure, a chance to bond and create memories together. They arrived at the storage facility, greeted by rows of units stacked neatly like blocks in a giant playground for adults. The air buzzed with anticipation as other bidders milled around, chatting excitedly among themselves. Some arrived with friends or family members who were equally invested in the treasure hunt ahead. Samantha felt her confidence waver slightly as she observed seasoned bidders exchanging tips and glancing strategically at various units. Mia and Jake pulled their mom forward, pointing toward a bright yellow sign that advertised upcoming units for sale. "Look, there are so many," Mia exclaimed, pulling Samantha closer. The auctioneer, a lively man with a booming voice, stood atop a small platform, ready to kick off the event. He explained how each unit would be opened briefly before bidding began, so everyone could see what was inside. Samantha's heart raced. This was it. She had never done anything like this before, but felt exhilarated by stepping outside her comfort zone. As units were called one by one, bidders raised their hands confidently, while others exchanged knowing glances about what might lie within those locked doors. Each time a gavel pounded signaling a sale, Samantha felt both inspired and intimidated by the process unfolding before them. Finally, one unit caught her eye, a small but intriguing space hidden towards the back corner of the lot. The door was rusted and slightly ajar, as if it held secrets within waiting to be uncovered. Something about it tugged at Samantha's instincts. Perhaps there was something valuable waiting for them inside. With Mia and Jake bouncing on their feet beside her, she gathered her courage yet again. "I want to bid on that one," she declared firmly when it came time for bidding on the unit she had chosen. "Are you sure?" Mia asked nervously. "Yes, let's give it a try," Samantha replied, feeling an unusual confidence built from her children's support. The auctioneer called out for bids on that unit. As Samantha raised her hand tentatively with an offer of $40, she felt an exhilarating mix of fear and hope rush through her veins. This could be their moment. The crowd around them grew quiet. Everyone seemed curious about who this newcomer was stepping into their world of bidding wars. Would they let her win? Or would someone swoop in at the last second? "Going once, going twice, sold." The gavel struck down sharply, sealing their fate. Samantha couldn't believe it. She had done it. She won. As joy flooded through her chest, like sunshine breaking through clouds after rain, she realized this wasn't just about money or possessions. It was about taking chances and embracing adventures alongside Mia and Jake. With smiles stretching across all their faces as they approached their new treasure chest later that day, excitement filled the air with endless possibilities. Little did they know how much this decision would truly change their lives. The sun peeked through the clouds on Saturday morning, casting a warm glow over the storage facility as Samantha parked the car. The air was filled with excitement and anticipation as she and her children stepped out, ready for their adventure. Mia and Jake bounced around, their faces lit up with eagerness. Samantha took a deep breath, feeling the mix of exhilaration and anxiety swirling inside her. As they walked toward the entrance, she couldn't help but notice the bustling crowd gathered around. Some bidders were chatting animatedly, while others studied the different storage units with a glint of determination in their eyes. Samantha felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. She had never participated in anything like this before. What if she made a fool of herself? What if they didn't find anything worth bidding on? Samantha glanced down at Mia and Jake, who were practically bouncing on their toes in excitement. Their enthusiasm gave her strength. She reminded herself that this was about more than just money. It was about spending time together as a family and embracing new experiences, no matter how uncertain they might feel. The auctioneer, a charismatic man with a booming voice, stood at the front of the lot, preparing to kick off the event. He welcomed everyone warmly, explaining how each unit would be opened briefly for inspection before bidding began. The way he spoke made everything feel thrilling, igniting Samantha's hope once more. As units were called one by one, Samantha felt her heart race. With each gavel strike signaling a sale, she watched seasoned bidders confidently raise their hands without hesitation. They seemed to know exactly what they were doing, while she felt like an outsider standing at the edge of a busy carnival. "Mom, look!" Jake tugged on her sleeve excitedly as he pointed toward one of the units that had just been opened. Inside lay an assortment of old furniture covered in dust, a couch and some chairs that looked like they hadn't been sat on in years. "What if we get something cool like that? Or maybe even a treasure chest?" Mia chimed in, grinning widely. Samantha couldn't help but laugh at their imaginations running wild. It was infectious. As each unit was showcased, some filled with junk and others holding items that sparked curiosity, her nerves began to settle into a bubbling excitement for what lay ahead. Finally, after several rounds of bidding on various units, it was time for the one that had caught Samantha's eye earlier, located in a quiet corner behind some taller units. The auctioneer announced it with flair. "And now we have Unit 23. Let's see what treasures await." As he opened the door slightly ajar, Samantha leaned forward along with other bidders to catch a glimpse inside. She could see boxes stacked haphazardly, along with some old furniture pieces peeking through dust-covered corners. There was something about it that pulled at her heartstrings. Perhaps it held stories waiting to be uncovered. Her pulse quickened as she thought about how this could be their moment. The moment where they could discover something life-changing together as a family. But then doubt crept back in. What if there was nothing valuable? What if she spent money they couldn't afford to lose? Taking another deep breath and recalling her children's hopeful faces just moments earlier reassured her. This wasn't just about winning or losing. It was about taking risks and embracing uncertainty together. The bidding started at $10, and hands shot up around her as experienced bidders jumped into action like sharks sensing blood in the water. With every bid that went up, a quick 20 here or 30. There, Samantha felt her stomach tighten further. When it came time for her turn to bid, she raised her hand cautiously but firmly declared, $40. Her heart raced as she realized how loud her voice sounded amidst all the chatter. For a brief moment, silence fell over the crowd. Even those seasoned bidders turned to look at her as if weighing whether or not to challenge her offer. Doubt flickered within again. Would anyone raise the stakes against her? Going once, going twice. The auctioneer paused dramatically before lifting his gavel high above his head. "Sold." He brought it down sharply. Samantha's heart leaped into her throat. The thrill of victory mixed with disbelief washed over her like waves crashing against rocks. She had won. Joy flooded through every inch of her body as laughter bubbled out from within. Mia clapped while Jake twirled around cheerfully beside them. As they approached their newly acquired unit later, not yet knowing what lay inside, all three shared smiles that stretched ear to ear amidst an atmosphere brimming with possibility. Little did they realize just how much this single decision would mold their futures into something extraordinary. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the parking lot, Samantha stood in front of the storage unit she had just won. With Mia and Jake bouncing beside her, their cheeks flushed with excitement, she felt a mix of nervous anticipation and hope. This was the moment they had been waiting for. The moment where curiosity met possibility. "Are you ready to see what's inside?" Samantha asked, her voice trembling slightly from excitement. The kids nodded eagerly, eyes wide as they imagined the treasures hidden within. They pulled open the heavy door together, dust swirling around them like tiny fairies in the light. Samantha peered inside to see a jumble of boxes and old furniture piled up haphazardly. It looked like a scene from a mystery movie. What stories lay buried beneath layers of dust? "Mama, look!" Jake exclaimed as he pointed to a large cardboard box sitting toward the back. It had seen better days, its corners frayed and its surface covered in scuffs. "Let's open that one first." Samantha felt a surge of excitement as they carefully moved closer to the box. She knelt down and grabbed hold of the flaps, feeling the rough texture beneath her fingers. With a small tug, she opened the box, and an earthy scent wafted out, like rain-soaked ground after a storm. Inside, they discovered an assortment of items crammed together. Old books with tattered covers, dusty toys that had clearly been loved over time, and a few photographs wrapped in yellowing paper. The sight ignited a mixture of nostalgia and curiosity within Samantha. "Wow, look at this," Mia gasped, holding up an old teddy bear with one ear slightly flopped down. Its fur was worn but still soft, evoking memories of her own childhood toys. "Can I keep it?" "Of course," Samantha replied with a smile. "It looks like it needs some love." As they dug deeper into the box, Samantha carefully lifted out a small photo album. The cover was faded but decorated with colorful stickers, a hint that it once belonged to someone who cherished it. She flipped it open to reveal pictures of smiling faces gathered around birthday parties and holidays. "Mom, who are these people?" Jake asked, peering over her shoulder at the images. "I'm not sure," she said softly, feeling a twinge of sadness for the families these memories once belonged to. But they looked happy together. Mia gently took the album from Samantha's hands and began flipping through its pages, filled with laughter, frozen in time. She stopped at one photo where a little girl held a birthday cake topped with bright candles. "This is like my last birthday," Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with connection. "Can we find out more about them?" Samantha nodded thoughtfully. While they might never discover who these people were, their lives intertwined for just a moment thanks to this forgotten box. It reminded her of how stories connect people across time and space, even if they remained strangers. Next, Jake pulled out something shiny from the box, a small metal key lying beneath layers of dust. "What do you think this opens?" he asked excitedly. Samantha chuckled at his enthusiasm. "Maybe it opens another adventure. It looks special." She tucked it away into her pocket for safekeeping. As they continued rummaging through their newfound treasures, Samantha couldn't believe how each item sparked curiosity and hope within them all. A beautiful porcelain figurine with delicate flowers painted on it caught her eye next. Despite some minor chips, it held an elegance that spoke volumes about its past. "What do you think this is worth? Can we sell it?" Mia asked cautiously. With warm pride swelling in her heart, Samantha replied, "We can definitely look into what it might be worth later. But right now, let's enjoy discovering what else we find." Before long, they uncovered more delightful items. Vintage postcards adorned with lovely illustrations, an old music box that played a sweet melody when wound up, and even some tools that looked like they hadn't seen use in years. With every new discovery came laughter and bonding moments, each item reviving stories waiting to be told or imagined anew in their hearts. As Samantha arranged some of their finds on the floor beside them for inspection, she felt gratitude wash over her. This was more than just a storage unit filled with forgotten belongings. It was an opportunity for growth and connection, an unexpected adventure that would help them build new memories together as they embraced whatever came next on this exciting journey. Eventually, when they reached the bottom of the box, Samantha spotted a small envelope tucked away in one corner marked Memories. Her heart raced as she gently pulled it out and opened it to reveal handwritten notes, some dated back decades, that shared moments captured between loved ones. "Reading these could be our treasure," she said softly as she glanced at Mia and Jake's eager faces lit up with wonderment at their family's new chapter unfolding right before their eyes. Together, surrounded by remnants of someone else's life, but enriched by their own experience in rediscovering joy through connection and shared excitement, they realized this first box held more than just items. It held stories waiting to be revived, a spark igniting hope for whatever lay ahead. As Samantha and her children explored the contents of their newly won storage unit, they leaned closer to the first box, which was filled with a mixture of dusty treasures waiting to be discovered. The excitement in the air was palpable as Mia and Jake eagerly pulled out item after item, each one revealing a fragment of someone else's life. Among the first finds was a collection of vintage postcards, beautifully illustrated and stamped from various places around the world. Each postcard depicted different landmarks. Some were from sunny beaches, while others featured snowy mountains and bustling cityscapes. Mia held one up that showed a picturesque view of the Grand Canyon. "Look, we should visit all these places someday," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with dreams. Next came an assortment of old photographs wrapped in an elastic band. The pictures were reminiscent of black and white film, showcasing families celebrating birthdays, picnics in parks, and children playing on swings. Samantha felt a surge of nostalgia as she flipped through the stack. "These people had such beautiful moments together," she said softly. Jake pointed at one photo where a little boy was flying a kite with his father. "I want to do that with you," he said, grinning from ear to ear. Then they stumbled upon something more unexpected. A metal lunchbox featuring popular cartoon characters from decades past. It was slightly rusted but still colorful and vibrant. Jake's face lit up as he opened it to find it filled with old marbles in every color imaginable. "Can we keep these?" he asked eagerly. "Absolutely. These will be great for games," Samantha replied, thrilled at how delighted her son looked. The thought of summer days spent outside playing marbles already danced in her mind. As they continued to explore the box, Mia uncovered an old diary nestled beneath some dusty toys. The cover was cracked, and the pages inside were lined with neat handwriting filled with thoughts about childhood adventures and dreams of becoming an artist one day. Mia read aloud a passage about wanting to paint murals on school walls. The words resonated with her own dreams of creativity, reminding them both how important it is to chase their passions. "This is so cool. Maybe I can be an artist too," Mia said excitedly, inspired by the words from another aspiring artist. Samantha smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm while also feeling a sense of wonder about who this little girl might have been, someone who once dreamed big like Mia did now. The next item revealed was a delicate porcelain figurine of a ballerina in mid-pose. Its graceful construction made it seem alive, as if it could leap off its stand at any moment. "This is beautiful," Samantha exclaimed gently, placing it aside for safekeeping. "It looks like it belonged to someone who loved dance." "What if we could find out more about these things?" Jake suggested, imagining stories behind each item they uncovered. Amidst the treasures were also charming trinkets like vintage keychains shaped like tiny bicycles, and an assortment of buttons adorned with cheerful designs, each colorful button telling tales waiting to be retold on fabric or fashion projects yet to come. just when they thought they had seen everything there was to see. Samantha found another envelope tucked away under some worn-out books and dust bunnies. The corners yellowed, but still intact. Inside were letters written in elegant cursive that told heartfelt stories between lovers separated by time or distance. Mia asked curiously if she could read some aloud again. Hearing snippets filled the room. The romance scented through ink blots, shared within layers, unraveling memories deeply embedded on those pages, opened horizons into lives once lived long ago. "Wow, this is like finding hidden treasure," Samantha said as she listened intently along with Jake, chiming in enthusiastically about what adventures could exist beyond just paper folds folded over time's passing waves. They discovered so much more than just objects from someone else's past. They found pieces connected through generations, showcasing love, laughter, friendships, the threads that weave lives together despite distance separating them physically, while bridging those gaps emotionally fueled hope, blooming anew. With each discovery pulled from its hiding place came laughter, mixed joy. Each piece ignited conversations rich with connection. A reminder that even forgotten items could hold stories ready to echo throughout their own family history, growing richer every moment spent together, moving forward. Surrounded by remnants, echoing sentiments past, yet continuously painting horizons brighter ahead. This first box changed everything at once. It marked not merely discoveries in material value, but crafted bonds woven deeper through shared curiosity, showing them how beautiful storytelling brings light, illuminating paths leading into tomorrow, embracing whatever adventure lay ahead. As Samantha sat surrounded by the treasures unearthed from the storage unit, she felt a wave of emotion wash over her. Each item held significance, resonating deeply with her own life experiences and feelings as a single mother navigating daily challenges. It was as if these forgotten possessions had been waiting for her, ready to remind her of her journey and the lessons learned along the way. The vintage postcards stirred memories of summers spent with her own family before everything changed. She recalled how her parents used to take her and her siblings on road trips, visiting different landmarks, stopping at quirky roadside attractions, and collecting souvenirs along the way. Those moments were filled with laughter and adventure, much like what she hoped to create for Mia and Jake. Samantha looked at Mia, who was studying a postcard with wide eyes, and felt a surge of hope. Maybe I can give them that kind of joy, she thought. When she held the old photographs, memories flooded back of birthdays celebrated with homemade cakes and days spent in parks, especially those cherished moments when she would snap photos of Mia and Jake running freely in the grass. The images reminded her how important it was to capture moments that could easily be forgotten, but meant everything in the grand scheme of life. As she flipped through the photographs, her heart ached for those children depicted within them, each snapshot a story longing to be told. At that moment, she knew she wanted to create a legacy of love and joy for Mia and Jake, to remember forever. The metal lunchbox filled with marbles sparked a joyful memory of her own childhood. She remembered playing outside with friends during long summer days, laughter filling the air as they engaged in friendly competitions with their treasured marbles. The thought of sharing this simple pleasure with her children ignited a desire within her to take advantage of every opportunity to make lasting memories together. "We have to play marbles outside," she declared, imagining how they would bond over these moments, just as she did as a child. As Mia read aloud from the diary, Samantha's heart fluttered. The girl's dreams echoed her own ambitions, dreams that sometimes felt distant amidst the day-to-day grind of life. She realized that while pursuing her goals had taken a back seat since becoming a mom, it didn't mean they were no longer valid or possible. The aspirations written in that diary served as a reminder that creativity and passion were essential parts of herself that deserved nurturing. The delicate porcelain ballerina figurine resonated with Samantha as well. The graceful figure reminded her of her own love for dance when she was younger, a hobby she had put aside after having children. It made her reflect on how important it was not only to nurture their interests, but also to rekindle her own passions. Perhaps it's time I revisit those old dance classes, she thought wistfully, inspired by this small piece of art. Then there were the letters, heartfelt and tender words exchanged between lovers separated by distance or time. As Samantha read snippets from them aloud, tears welled in her eyes. They reminded her of love and connection that transcended challenges, reflecting on her relationship journey through ups and downs. The letters spoke volumes about vulnerability and bravery, the qualities she wished to embody as a mother as well as an individual. Love is worth fighting for, she found herself thinking as she passed the letters around for Mia and Jake to ponder. We must take care of our relationships. They shape who we are. Samantha understood that each item was more than an artifact. They were mementos steeped in emotions, providing insight into lives once lived and dreams nurtured throughout time. As she sat amidst these treasures, she couldn't help but feel grateful for them. They encouraged reflection about what truly mattered in life: love, connection, family, and dreams yet to be pursued. In that moment, surrounded by remnants echoing sentiments from strangers' pasts intertwined with their own unfolding future, Samantha saw clearly how this experience would not just change their immediate circumstances. It could shape their hearts, fostering resilience, while inspiring them all to embrace each new adventure boldly. Her heart swelled with determination as she envisioned new possibilities unfolding before them. All three united in exploring not only the tangible items within that box, but also delving into meaningful conversations, igniting deeper connections together moving forward. This journey had only just begun. With the excitement of their recent discoveries still fresh in their minds, Samantha sat at the kitchen table with Mia and Jake, sorting through the items they had unearthed from the storage unit. As they gathered the treasures, a new idea began to form in Samantha's mind. They had stumbled upon memories and dreams, but perhaps they could also find a way to turn some of these items into a source of income. "Kids," she began, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "What if we sold some of these things? We could use that money to help with our bills, or maybe even take a little trip together." Mia's eyes lit up at the thought. "That sounds fun. Can we sell the postcards and some of the old toys?" she asked eagerly. "Absolutely," Samantha replied, feeling a sense of possibility blooming within her. "We can set up a little shop online or take some things to the local market. Let's see what we have that others might love too." They spent the next hour going through the collection, carefully selecting items that they felt would resonate with others. The vintage postcards were an easy choice. Each one told a story that could spark someone else's imagination. The metal lunchbox and its colorful marbles were also on the list, as were some of the charming buttons and keychains. Samantha felt a sense of pride as they carefully packaged these treasures to sell. Once they had gathered a small pile of items, Samantha turned to her laptop, where she logged into an online marketplace, had done a bit of research on selling online, and now she was ready to put her newfound knowledge into action. With Mia and Jake gathered around her, she took pictures of each item, ensuring they showcased their best angles. "Look at this postcard from Paris. Doesn't it look amazing?" she exclaimed, snapping a photo of the postcard that Mia had held earlier with awe. After setting up their listings, they crafted descriptions that highlighted the unique stories behind each item, how the postcards had traveled through time, bearing messages from adventurous souls. The lunchbox was described as a nostalgic piece, perfect for collectors or anyone who wanted to add a bit of whimsy to their day. With each listing, Samantha felt more hopeful about their prospects. The following days brought a whirlwind of activity as messages from potential buyers began to trickle in. It was exciting to see interest in their treasures blossom. Samantha found joy in communicating with buyers, sharing bits of history about each item while imagining how it would find a new home. Within a week, the first sale was made, a set of vintage postcards. Mia squealed with delight as they packed them up carefully for shipment. "This is like sending little pieces of happiness to someone else," she said joyfully. As more items sold, old toys, letters, and even the marbles, they began to feel how this venture was not just about making money. It was also about connecting with others. Each sale became an opportunity to share stories, to spread joy, and most importantly, to empower themselves through creativity and shared goals. Samantha kept track of every sale and every dollar earned. She felt a bubbling excitement building within her. With each success, she knew they were taking small steps toward easing their financial worries. She envisioned using some of the income for a fun family outing or even saving up for something special. A small vacation, perhaps. Something that would create lasting memories together. Inspired by their success online, Samantha decided to take it a step further by renting a booth at the local flea market on weekends. It was an exciting venture that would allow them to interact with people face to face while showcasing more of their unique finds from the storage unit. On market day, they packed up a table with their treasures, items carefully arranged for display, inviting passersby to stop and take a look. Mia and Jake helped set everything up, their excitement palpable as they chatted with customers about the stories behind each piece. "Can you believe this was someone's childhood toy?" Jake said proudly as he held up an old plush animal for a curious buyer. His enthusiasm was contagious, and soon enough, shoppers were drawn in by both the items and their energy. The day turned out to be a success. They sold several pieces while also making connections with fellow vendors who shared their love for secondhand treasures. Samantha felt invigorated by the experience. This wasn't just about earning money. It was about community and shared passions that brought people together. As they drove home after another successful day at the market, Samantha couldn't help but reflect on how this journey had transformed them. From an uncertain auction win to creating opportunities for growth and connection within their family and community. Every step felt significant. She looked back at Mia and Jake in the rearview mirror, joy radiating from them as they chatted about what they could sell next. "We're building something special here," she thought warmly. This adventure had begun as a gamble, but had quickly turned into an unexpected path toward financial stability. A chance for them to weave new dreams together while nurturing old ones along the way. With newfound hope filling their hearts, Samantha smiled, knowing this chapter was only just beginning. Selling their treasures from the storage unit quickly transformed into more than just a means of generating income for Samantha and her children. It became a way to connect with their community in meaningful ways. As they set up their booth at the local flea market each weekend, they found themselves immersed not only in the hustle and bustle of the marketplace, but also in a vibrant community filled with diverse individuals sharing stories and experiences. On their first day at the market, Samantha was nervous yet excited. She had prepared herself to sell, but she didn't anticipate how much she would enjoy interacting with others. As they arranged their table with colorful items and carefully crafted signs, she noticed other vendors nearby chatting warmly amongst themselves. "Look, Mom, that lady over there has some really cool vintage clothes," Mia pointed excitedly. Jake chimed in, "And that guy is selling handmade toys. Can we go look?" After setting up, Samantha encouraged them to explore while keeping an eye on their own booth. As they wandered through stalls, they engaged with fellow vendors who shared tips and stories about their own experiences selling at the market. It was heartwarming to see how passionate everyone was about what they were doing. It felt like being part of a big family. When a friendly vendor named Linda approached their booth, she struck up a conversation about the vintage postcards Samantha had displayed. "These are wonderful. I collect postcards myself," she said warmly. "Do you mind if I share some tips on where you might find more?" Samantha felt grateful for Linda's kindness and eagerly listened as she shared insights about local estate sales and online marketplaces where unique finds could be uncovered. They exchanged contact information and promised to keep in touch, forming the beginnings of a budding friendship. As the day went on, customers came to browse their items. Each interaction brought laughter and connection. The stories shared were just as important as the items being sold. One customer picked up an old toy truck and began reminiscing about his childhood memories of playing with similar toys. "I haven't thought about this in years." He laughed as Jake watched intently, soaking in every word. "Can we keep it?" Jake asked hopefully when he saw how excited the man was over the truck. Samantha smiled as she replied, "No, honey, but it's nice to know someone else will love it too." That moment resonated deeply with her. It highlighted how their items were bridging gaps between generations. With each sale, Samantha felt more empowered and connected, not just financially, but emotionally as well. She was building relationships within her community that reminded her of her own childhood, when neighbors looked out for one another and friendships blossomed over shared experiences. Over time, Mia and Jake became enthusiastic participants in these connections too. They learned how to engage with customers by sharing stories about the items they were selling. At one point, Mia even made a new friend from another booth, an older girl who loved painting and offered to show her some techniques during future markets. As weeks passed by at the flea market, Samantha became familiar with several other vendors whom she now considered friends. There was Tom, who sold handmade furniture crafted from reclaimed wood. Sarah, who created beautiful jewelry from recycled materials. And Marcus, who brought delicious baked goods that drew crowds every Saturday morning. One sunny afternoon, after they successfully sold several pieces including marbles and postcards, Samantha found herself sitting down for coffee with Linda, while Jake played nearby with Mia and her new friend. They chatted about parenting challenges, dreams for the future, and how small businesses could contribute positively to their community spirit. "I never expected this venture would lead me to such wonderful people," Samantha confessed with gratitude shining through her eyes. Linda nodded knowingly. "It's amazing how taking a chance can change everything, not just for us, but for those around us too." That evening, when they returned home after another successful day at the market, Samantha reflected on all that had happened. The friendships formed and support exchanged within those bustling stalls. Each week had become more than just opportunities for financial gain. It blossomed into building a network of friendships rooted in resilience and shared aspirations. With newfound hope filling her heart again, she realized this journey wasn't only about making money or finding treasures. It represented something deeper, creating bonds that strengthened not only her family unit, but also intertwined them within a larger community tapestry. Woven through stories shared amidst laughter, echoing across tables filled with memories waiting patiently to unfold anew. As days turned into weeks and weeks shaped into months, what began as an uncertain path had blossomed into an uplifting adventure. A journey of connection where every item sold opened doors leading towards lasting friendships forged through creativity, blooming alongside resilience. cultivated through commitment, devoted toward nurturing both dreams, big enough for all hearts involved growing stronger together, while embracing possibilities ahead. As the weeks turned into months, Samantha began to feel the profound impact that their experiences with the storage unit auction and subsequent sales had on her outlook on life. The initial excitement of unearthing hidden treasures transformed into a deeper understanding of what it meant to embrace opportunities rather than merely survive. Each event they attended, whether selling at the flea market or meeting new friends, filled her with a sense of purpose that had long been overshadowed by financial stress and daily responsibilities. One morning, while sipping coffee and reflecting on their journey thus far, Samantha realized how different she felt from just a few months prior. Back then, she often operated on autopilot, worrying constantly about bills and juggling her job and motherhood. Now, she felt empowered and inspired, driven by the possibilities that lay ahead. The adventure had sparked something within her, a hunger for life beyond mere survival. As she organized a new set of items for the upcoming weekend market, she thought about how these small steps had ignited a flame within her to pursue opportunities she once believed were unattainable. She had fallen in love with being an entrepreneur, albeit on a small scale. Ideas began swirling in her head about what other ventures they could explore together as a family. Perhaps they could even start creating their own crafts or art to sell alongside their finds. "Mom, can we make some jewelry?" Mia asked one afternoon as they sorted through more items in their storage unit. "Absolutely," Samantha replied with newfound enthusiasm. "We can use some of those old buttons and beads we found. Let's create something special together." That spark, the willingness to try something new, changed everything for Samantha. No longer was she focused solely on getting through each day. Now, she envisioned opportunities where creativity thrived alongside practicality. It became evident that embracing change was essential for both her and her children. Jake also caught on to this shift in energy as he brought home his own ideas from school. Suggestions for projects they could do together as a family to encourage creativity and connection. "What if we made friendship bracelets for our market booth? I can help design them," he proposed one evening during dinner. Samantha felt grateful for the ways their experiences had fostered open communication between them. Every conversation opened doors that led toward growth. By encouraging Mia and Jake's ideas, she was cultivating their capabilities while nurturing confidence that would carry them through challenges ahead. Their weekends evolved into crafting sessions filled with laughter and collaboration. Paint splatters adorned the kitchen table as they made colorful jewelry and other handmade crafts inspired by their discoveries. This newfound passion ignited excitement amongst them all. Each creation represented not just another item to sell, but also personal stories woven together through time spent bonding over shared experiences. As market day approached again, Samantha no longer felt anxious about simply selling items. Instead, it became an opportunity to showcase the joy created through their collective efforts. The friendships formed along the way made each sale feel like a celebration rather than just business transactions. On one particular sunny Saturday at the flea market, Samantha noticed several familiar faces from previous weeks. Fellow vendors who had become friends over shared laughter and exchanges of stories about parenting challenges or dreams for future endeavors. It was comforting to know that they weren't alone in this journey. They were all navigating similar paths together while lifting one another up. The conversations flowed easily as customers browsed not only her booth, but also those of nearby vendors who offered unique goods crafted from love. A reminder that community support mattered deeply during difficult times. By now, selling at the market wasn't merely about generating income. It was an experience filled with connections rooted in mutual respect and shared aspirations among those pursuing growth despite life's unpredictable circumstances. After another fruitful day at the market, filled with smiles exchanged between friends old and new, Samantha found herself feeling profoundly grateful, not just for their financial gains, but also for how far they'd come together as a family emotionally. That evening, while reflecting on everything that had unfolded since winning the storage unit auction, she recognized this venture reshaped not only her circumstances, but also connected them all more deeply than ever before, even revealing opportunities previously hidden under layers of fear held tightly within herself. With renewed perspective, illuminating possibilities beyond survival alone. Samantha knew this journey marked just the beginning. They were crafting lives richer in purpose, while embracing adventures waiting patiently around every corner ahead. Looking back on the whirlwind journey Samantha had embarked upon, she marveled at how one seemingly random decision to bid on a storage unit had profoundly changed her life and the lives of her children. What began as a simple hope for hidden treasures to ease their financial burdens had blossomed into an adventure that reshaped their entire family dynamic and outlook on life. The experience had taught Samantha that sometimes the most significant rewards lay just beyond the edges of comfort, waiting patiently, someone willing to take a risk. It was astonishing to think that a single moment of courage, driven by curiosity, led them down this vibrant path filled with unexpected joys. With each treasure unearthed, they discovered not just objects from the past, but connections to others and an appreciation for the stories those items carried. Samantha found herself reflecting on how far they had come since that day at the auction. Initially, she had felt overwhelmed and anxious about financial responsibilities. Now, she approached life with renewed vigor, driven by hope, creativity, and resilience. The struggles she once faced felt lighter as their lives expanded beyond survival mode into a realm of possibilities. As the weeks unfolded, she began to see clearer visions of her future. Engaging in community markets ignited a passion within her, a desire not merely to sell items, but to create something meaningful with her children. The prospect of crafting beautiful jewelry or unique art pieces resonated deeply within her as she explored ways to develop their new entrepreneurial spirit. The bond between Samantha and her children strengthened as they worked side by side during their crafting sessions. Together they laughed, created, and shared dreams. Each moment became a cherished memory etched in time. She realized the value of nurturing these experiences. They were not solely about making money, but also about instilling a sense of belonging and purpose in Mia and Jake's lives. Taking risks had proven beneficial in countless ways, not only materially, but also emotionally. The friendships forged with other vendors provided love and support during times when self-doubt crept in. Linda's friendship taught Samantha the importance of community ties. They could lift each other up through shared laughter, advice, and encouragement. Instead of facing challenges alone, she now felt part of a collective effort fueled by hope and dreams for the future. As Samantha continued selling their handmade crafts at local markets, she embraced opportunities that arose along the way. Whether collaborating with fellow artisans or participating in community events that brought people together, she was no longer bound by limitations or fear. Instead, she felt empowered to pursue what sparked her interest. One sunny Saturday afternoon at the flea market, inspiration struck when she spotted an artisan demonstrating pottery techniques at a nearby stall. The colorful creations brought smiles to passers-by as glimmers of creativity danced before her eyes. Samantha approached curiously, engaging with the artisan who shared her journey. The trials faced along the way, triumphs celebrated through artistry, and discoveries made learning through hands-on experiences. Maybe we could host workshops in our community, Samantha mused excitedly to her children later that day over dinner. What if we taught others how to create jewelry or crafts using recycled materials? Mia and Jake's eyes shone with excitement at the thought of teaching others while building connections within their community. That would be amazing, Mia shouted enthusiastically. With newfound determination shining bright in their hearts, Samantha started planning workshops that combined creativity with purpose. They offered free classes for children at local community centers, inviting families to join in crafting sessions designed around fun themes and inspiring stories from their own journey. Months rolled forward as each workshop unfolded into joyful gatherings of laughter, echoing through art-filled spaces together. Families connected while learning new skills, and even enhancing friendships born from shared creativity, blossoming right before their eyes. As participants left carrying items crafted from newfound passions alongside happy smiles rooted deep in connection, they unknowingly reinforced how powerful embracing risks could be, not just for Samantha, but for everyone involved. Through it all, she recognized that this experience wasn't merely an excursion into entrepreneurship. It transformed into a celebration of resilience, woven throughout every interaction, forged down this path, leading toward hope, illuminating futures yet unwritten waiting patiently ahead. Samantha stood grateful, no longer shackled by fear, now free instead, empowered by countless possibilities unfolding gracefully before them. Like pages turning gently in an unwritten tale filled with promise, waiting patiently.